Don't forget to subscribe. Afterwards, the wisest and most spiritual books from the greatest authors await you every day. And now buckle up, sit back and we'll begin.
Hatred does not cease in this world by hating, but by not hating. This is an eternal truth. Gautama Buddha. It is within this fathoms-long carcass, with its mind and its notions, that I declare there is the world, the origin of the world, the cessation of the world and the path leading to the cessation of the world. He who can curb his wrath as soon as it arises, as a timely antidote will check snake's venom that so quickly spreads. Such a monk gives up the here and the beyond, just as a serpent sheds its worn-out skin. All composite things decay. Strive diligently. Know what you do not know. Though through all his life a fool associates with a wise man, he yet understands not the Dharma, as the spoon, the flavor of soup. If the traveler cannot find master or friend to go with him, let him travel alone rather than with a fool for company. One should not kill a living being, nor cause it to be killed, nor should one incite another to kill. Do not injure any being, either strong or weak, in the world. Never in this world can hatred be stilled by hatred, it will be stifled by non-hatred. This is the law eternal. I will teach you the truth and the path leading to the truth. Follow not after the vain, understand the ills of sense pleasures. One who is vigilant and meditative obtains deep joy. Like a beautiful flower, full of color, but without scent, are wise words when spoken, but fruitless these words are when not carried out by the speaker. To be concerned with the issue, soul versus non-soul, is to be in bondage to craving for becoming and non-becoming. The hunger of passions is the greatest disease. Those which are produced from causes are not produced. They do not have an inherent nature of production. Those which depend on causes are said to be empty. Those who know emptiness are aware. The darkest night is ignorance. When a man venerates those worthy of veneration, be they Buddhas or their disciples, who have transcended all obstacles and passed beyond sorrow and tears, venerating such as these, whose passions are extinguished and for whom there is no further source for fear, no one can calculate how great his merit is. Therefore, do not eat meat which will cause terror among people, because it hinders the truth of emancipation. Not to eat meat? This is the mark of the wise. To avoid causing terror to living beings, let the disciple refrain from eating meat. Following the noble path is like entering a dark room with a light in the hand. The darkness will all be cleared away, and the room will be filled with light. As I am, so are others, as others are, so am I. Having thus identified self and others, harm no one nor have them harmed. By your own folly you will be brought as low as your worst enemy wishes. In the end it is nothing other than the loving kindness with which the woman cares for her child that makes the difference. Her concern concentrates on one thing, just like the Buddhist practice of concentration. She thinks of nothing but her child, which is similar to Buddhist compassion. That must be why, although she created no other causes to bring about it, she was reborn in the Brahma heaven. If you have done good, set your mind upon it so that it may be repeated over and over again. Allow yourself to be pleased by good. Accumulating good is joyful. The seeker is that which is being sought. All of you knowing now that the Buddhas, the teachers of the ages, in accord with what is peculiarly appropriate, have recourse to expedient devices, need have no more doubts or uncertainties. Your hearts shall give rise to great joy, since you know that you yourselves shall become Buddhas. Don't rely on logic alone, nor speculation. Don't infer or be deceived by appearances. Never by hatred is hatred appeased, but it is appeased by kindness. This is an eternal truth. Do not underestimate what you specific conventional, nor covetousness others. He who envies others does not terra firma organization of intellect. Look not for refuge to anyone beside yourself. Heed fast to the truth as a lamp. What is the appropriate behavior for a man or a woman in the midst of this world, where each person is clinging to his piece of debris? What's the proper salutation between people as they pass each other in this flood? Be a lamp unto yourself. Those who consider the inessential to be essential, and see the essential as inessential, don't reach the essential. Living in the field of wrong intention. It came to me that I should teach this truth, for it is real happiness and joy. The cessation of suffering is possible when phenomena are individually analyzed as selfless, and what has been analyzed is meditated upon. That is the cause for attaining the fruit, nirvana. One does not go to peace through any other cause. Delusions, errors and lies are like huge, gaudy vessels, the rafters of which are rotten and worm-eaten, and those who embark in them are fated to be shipwrecked. Looking deeply at life as it is in this very moment, the meditator dwells in stability and freedom. Do not breathing in the chronological, do not dream of the later, drain the intellect on the bring about twinkling. Come and see. Place no head above your own. Let your mind become clear like a still forest pool. Everything is extraordinarily clear. I see the whole landscape before me. I see my hands, my feet, my toes, and I smell the rich river mud. I feel a sense of tremendous strangeness and wonder at being alive. Wonder of wonders. One who is unrestrained in life delusion overcomes, as the wind a weak tree. Every human being is the author of his own health or disease. Both formerly and now, it is only suffering that I describe, and the cessation of suffering. After 48 years, I have said nothing. Be quick to do good. If you are slow, the mind, delighting in mischief, will catch you. Whoever makes love grow boundless, and sets his mind for seeing the end of birth, his fetters are worn thin. If he loves even a single being, good will follow. But the noble one with compassionate heart for all mankind, generates abounding good. Much though he recites the sacred texts, but acts not accordingly, that heedless man is like a cowherd who only counts the cows of others, he does not partake of the blessings of the holy life. Wonder of wonders. Intrinsically all living beings are Buddhas, endowed with wisdom and virtue, but because men's minds have become inverted through delusive thinking they fail to perceive this. A Brahmin once asked the Blessed One, "Are you a god?" "No, Brahmin," said the Blessed One. Are you a saint? No, Brahman, said the Blessed One. Are you a magician? No, Brahman, said the Blessed One. What are you then? I am awake. If the mind be fixed on the acquirement of any object, that object will be attained. For one who is a learner and who has not yet come to master their mind, but who dwells aspiring for peace from that which binds, making it a matter concerning himself, I know of no other thing as helpful as giving close attention to the mind. Hunger for things is the supreme disease. Though one should live 100 years without wisdom and control, yet better, indeed, is a single day's life of one who is wise and meditative. Awakening is natural, delusion is not. A disciplined mind brings happiness. Monks, one thing, if practiced and made much of, conduces to great thrill, great profit, great security after the toil, to mindfulness and self-possession, to the winning of knowledge and insight, to pleasant living in this very life, to the realization of the fruit of release by knowledge. What is that one thing? It is mindfulness centered on the body. Just as a chariot is verbalized, in dependence on collections of parts, so conventionally a sentient being is set up depending on the mental and physical aggregates. Any material form, or thought, or feeling, past or present, should be regarded as, this is not mine, this is not what I am, this is not myself. Joy and openness come from our own contented heart. Cut out the love of self, like an autumn lotus with thy hand. Because not even the least dharma is there found or got at. Therefore is it called utmost, right and perfect enlightenment. Self-identical is that dharma and nothing is therein at variance. Therefore is it called utmost, right and perfect enlightenment. Hate never ends hate. Only love can. One should follow a man of wisdom who rebukes one for one's faults, as one would follow a guide to some buried treasure. To one who follows such a wise man, it will be an advantage and not a disadvantage. Why, since I am myself subject to birth, aging, disease, death, sorrows and defilement, do I seek after what is also subject to these things? Suppose, being myself subject these things, seeking danger in them, I were to seek the unborn, unaging, und. For those struggling in midstream, in great fear of the flood, of growing old and of dying, for all those I say, an island exists where there is no place for impediments, no place for clinging, the island of no going beyond. I call it nirvana, the complete destruction of old age and dying. I consider the positions of kings and rulers as that of dust motes. I observe treasures of gold and gems as so many bricks and pebbles. I look upon the finest silken robes as tattered rags. I see myriad worlds of the universe as small seeds of fruit, and the greatest lake on earth as a drop of oil on my foot. To avoid causing terror to living beings, let the disciple refrain from eating meat. The food of the wise is that which is consumed by the sadhus, holy men, it does not consist of meat. There may be some foolish people in the future who will say that I permitted meat eating and that I partook of meat myself, but meat eating I have not permitted to anyone. I do not permit, I will not permit meat eating in any form, in any manner and in any place, it is unconditionally prohibited for all. As the bee collects nectar and departs without injuring the flower, or its color or fragrance, so let the sage dwell on earth. There is, monks, an unborn, unbecome, unmade, unconditioned. If, monks, there were no unborn, no escape would be discerned from what is born, become, made, conditioned. But because there is an unborn, therefore an escape is discerned from what is born, become, made, conditioned. May everyone be happy and safe, and may their hearts be filled with joy. He who slings mud loses ground. Few are those among men who have crossed over to the other shore, while the rest of mankind runs along the bank. However, those who follow the principles of the well-taught truth will cross over to the other shore, out of the dominion of death, hard though it is to escape. Watch the thought and its ways with care, and let it spring from love born out of concern for all beings. To know and not to use is not yet to know. Better than chanting 1,000 words in a dead language is one soothing word spoken in the vernacular. Sandalwood, tagara, lotus, jasmine, the fragrance of virtue is unrivaled by such kinds of perfume. Like fresh milk, a bad deed does not turn at once. It follows a fool, scorching him like a smoldering fire. If there is no other world and there is no fruit and ripening of actions well done or ill done, then here and now in this life I shall be free from hostility, affliction, and anxiety, and I shall live happily. The recollected go forth to lives of renunciation. They take no pleasure in a fixed abode. Like wild swans abandoning a pool, they leave one resting place after another. The big belly can accommodate all kinds of things. The benevolence is never let a dust behind. Be a light unto yourself. The man who wears the yellow dyed robe but is not free from stains himself, without self-restraint and integrity, is unworthy of the robe. Death carries off a man busy picking flowers with an besotted mind, like a great flood does a sleeping village. There have been many Buddhas before me and will be many Buddhas in the future. Follow then the shining ones, the wise, the awakened, the loving, for they know how to work and forbear. To have much learning, to be skillful in handicraft, well trained in discipline, and to be of good speech, this is the greatest blessing. Be it known that men of dull faculties and slight wisdom, they who cling proudly to signs, cannot believe in this Dharma. Now I, joyfully and fearlessly, in the midst of the bodhisattvas frankly casting aside my expedient devices, merely preach the unexcelled path. Let the wise guard their thoughts, which are difficult to perceive, extremely subtle, and wander at will. Thought which is well guarded is the bearer of happiness. As the fletcher whittles and makes straight his arrows, so the master directs his straying thoughts. Hatred is never ended by hatred but by love. One who conquers himself is greater than another who conquers 1,000 times 1,000 on the battlefield. As an irrigator guides water to his fields, as an archer aims an arrow, as a carpenter carves wood, the wise shape their lives. All have I overcome, all do I know. From all am I detached. All have I renounced. Wholly absorbed am I in the destruction of craving. having comprehended all by myself, whom shall I call my teacher? All beings are not only the parents in the past. They will become the Buddha in the future. If you free their lives, you are Buddha. Do not disregard the accumulation of goodness, saying, "This will come to nothing." By the gradual falling of raindrops, a jar is filled. The beautiful chariots of kings wear out, this body too undergoes decay. But the Dhamma of the good does not decay, so the good proclaim along with the good. Whenever and wherever one encounters the arising and passing away of the mental physical structure, one enjoys bliss and delight, which lead on to the deathless stage experienced by the wise. It is easy to see the faults of others. It is hard to see our own. Of all footprints, that of the elephant is supreme. Similarly, of all mindfulness meditations, that on death is supreme. He whose longing has been aroused for the indescribable, whose mind has been quickened by it, and whose thought is not attached to sensuality is truly called one who is bound upstream. Gautama Buddha.
And that's not all. Our experts and regular viewers respond to all comments. Also check if you forgot to subscribe and set your bell to receive notifications about new audiobooks and other useful self-development materials that we release regularly. Join in the discussions, don't forget to give likes and, if possible and inspired, support the development of the channel financially. All useful links will be in the description and the first attached comment. Goodness, love and wisdom to all. And now move on to watch the next part of the video at the links below, or choose something from the playlists of the channel and those you see on the screen.